Hello, we are going to be starting a heredity and genetics unit, and I thought a good way to start this unit would be to do an introduction through our Google Slides presentation, just to give you some background information and knowledge, so that you are all set for our unit as we get going here. We're going to read through the information on each slide. I want you to use the notes program to help you take notes as you're listening to the readings so that you can recall important information when we get to the end, because you're going to need to use that information to answer the questions on the Google form. So, as we're going, feel free to take notes on any important details from each slide that you feel you need to remember. So, we'll start with our introduction. Have you ever wondered why your hair is brown while your best friend's is blonde? Have you ever wondered why you have brown eyes while your brother has blue eyes? Have you ever wondered why you look like your parents? Just what is that gives all of your individual characteristics? The answers to these questions have to do with heredity and genetics. Heredity is the way traits such as hair and eye color are passed on from one generation to the next. Genetics is the field of science that studies how these traits are passed on. In the following pages, we will take a closer look at genetics and answer some of these questions about what makes you, you. And we'll start with acquired traits. It says acquired traits. All sorts of things can affect a person's appearance. Genetics and heredity are some of these things. Behavior and the environment are other things. You can think of inherited traits as those you are born with and cannot change, such as your height or the color of your hair and eyes. However, sometimes you can change the appearance of inherited traits or acquire new traits. For example, you can change your appearance by wearing high heels if you are short, or by wearing blue-colored contact lenses if your eyes are brown. You will appear to be tall and have blue eyes, but these changes are not permanent. They do not actually change the way you are. You will still be short with brown eyes when you take off your shoes and your contact lenses. However, some environmental traits can be permanent. For example, poor nutrition may cause someone to be short, even if he or she has tall genes. Other traits are acquired, such as the ability to drive a car. It is not something you are born knowing how to do. There are all kinds of acquired traits. Some of these include the ability to swim, dance, tell good jokes, cook, juggle, and lots more. There are even traits that come from a mixture of heredity and the environment. For instance, every human is born with the ability to learn how to speak and use language. But depending on where you were raised, you may have learned to speak Dutch, Spanish, Swahili, or Korean. Let's move on to inherited traits. It says genes, chromosomes, and DNA. As Mendel discovered with pea plants, traits are passed down from parents through genes. You can find your genes on rod-shaped structures called chromosomes inside your cells. Chromosomes carry the genes that determine if you will be a boy or a girl and all the other characteristics you inherit from your parents. Genes are made of even smaller molecules called DNA. DNA molecules are found in all your cells. You can think of DNA as a code or blueprint of how a living thing is put together. DNA molecules carry all of the information needed to make each living thing. Every living thing that you can think of was put together following the blueprint provided by its DNA. Within inherited traits, we have dominant and recessive traits. Let's get back to genes. For now, genes are as small as we need to go. Each parent carries two genes for most simple characteristics, like eye color, dimples, and tongue rolling. As explained earlier, with Mendel's pea plants, a gene is either dominant or recessive. A dominant gene is stronger and will always win when combined with a recessive gene. For example, say your mother has brown eyes and your father has blue eyes. You receive one brown eye gene from your mother and one blue eye gene from your father. Brown eye genes are dominant, while blue eye genes are recessive. The brown eye gene wins out over the blue eye gene. That means you would have brown eyes. And let's head to our last one, some examples of some of these inherited traits. This is where it gets a little confusing. Now, just because you have brown eyes does not mean all your children will have brown eyes. You are still carrying one recessive blue eye gene. If that recessive gene gets paired with another recessive blue eye gene, your child will have blue eyes. However, if that recessive blue eye gene gets paired with a dominant brown eye gene, or if you pass on your own dominant brown eye gene rather than your blue eye gene, your child will have brown eyes. When parents have both dominant and recessive genes, it is difficult to say what genes the child will receive. This may be easier to visualize by using a Punnett square. So basically, what this slide is saying is dominant genes will always win over the recessive gene. The only time the recessive gene will win out is if two recessive genes come together. And we never know which genes a child is going to get until that child is born. All right, so now we'll go back to home. If you need to replay any parts of this video or go back to where you saw your notes, you can. When you're done, you can follow the link to the Google form and you can answer the questions based on the slides that you can go back to, or you can also refer to your notes that you took while watching the video. Thank you.